Good afternoon, Worldwide Core Radio listeners. How are you today? I have had a whirlwind of a day, and today our subject actually works out with what I've been doing today. 2 of my children had dentist appointments today, and I spent most of my day taking care of that. So I was super glad when I remembered what our subject was going to be today. Last time we were here, we talked about artificial sweeteners and the information that's come out about those and how awful they are for you. So that's what we talked about last time. Today, we're actually going to talk about one of the other myths that we cherish from the 100-Year Lie book that we've been working through. And this is from chapter 5, which talks about the drug and medical industries. And so we're on the myth that's titled, "Fluoridated water is healthy for us." So we are going to talk about that today, which plays into how I spent my day at the dentist office. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the conversation that I had there while after we talk about what Mr. Randall Fitzgerald has to say about fluoridated water in his book, The 100-Year Lie, which is actually pretty interesting. We have been, in our household, we have been on our healthy journey for about 11 years, and one of the first things I did was remove the fluoridated water from our home after I did my research, which meant getting a filter for our drinking water and trying to stay away from fluoridated water in the bottle, because I don't know if you have looked lately, but there is some water out there that you can buy in a bottle at the store that is fluoridated. And most of the time you'll see it with water that they suggest to use for infants or children when you're mixing formula or mixing with juices or whatever. So they suggest, hopefully you're not using tap water with your little ones, straight from the tap, because it has other things other than fluoride in it, like chlorine and pesticides and all that stuff that aren't filtered out in the process of cleaning our water. But they also add fluoride to many municipal drinking water systems. So we're going to talk about that today. But my name is NeAnne, and I'm coming to you today from Oklahoma. And we're going to talk about the healthy journey that my family has been on. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about or how to get away from some of the things we're talking about, you're welcome to email me at healthyjourney2016@gmail.com. You're welcome to comment here on Worldwide Radio on my Facebook, or just let me know what questions you have. I am not a medical professional doctor, so I cannot treat, prescribe, or diagnose. So don't send me any questions that have to do with that, because that's not what I do. I just try to educate people on a healthier way of living and choices that you can make for your family to increase health and wellness in your home. So we're not talking about disease or disease processes through any of that, but you're welcome to email me again at healthyjourney2016@gmail.com with questions or comments, or maybe some subject matters that you'd like to talk about. Like I said last time we were here, we talked about aspartame and Splenda, and how those things just should not be in your diet, and some specific studies that show why. And so today we're going to talk about fluoride in your water. So we try to avoid that at all costs. I don't buy bottled water that's already fluorinated. I'm hoping and praying that when I do have to buy bottled water, that it's actually clean water. You know how that goes. You've seen the reports on how some of the bottled water we're buying is actually just tap water. So you just pray over that when you have to buy something in the store, right? But we do have a filter on our home. But I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about why we do that today, and hopefully why maybe you would like to make that choice for your family, an educated choice. So we're going to jump right in, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my experience at the dentist office today, which was not bad. It was an okay experience, but we did, I did breach on the subject of fluoride with one of the ladies that was helping me, and then let you know how you can contact me or get in touch with me or join our team of people who just are trying to do the best for their family and looking for products that they can use in their home that aren't full of chemicals, aren't full of hormone disruptors, synthetics, all of that kind of stuff, which is what we want to try to avoid in our home. So here we go. We're going to jump into the myth we cherish. Fluoridated water is healthy for us. So let's see what Mr. Fitzgerald has to say about that. One of the more memorable and hilarious scenes in the early 1960s satirical movie Dr. Strangelove featured a monologue by a U.S. military general ranting and raving about the necessity to protect, quote, our precious bodily fluids, unquote, from contamination by fluoride in drinking water, presumably because the drug had been placed there as part of a communist plot to control the world. Ridiculing people who feared the health effects of fluoridated water by labeling them a lunatic fringe proved extraordinarily effective for many decades in protecting fluoride from serious scrutiny. After all, we were constantly being assured by authority figures in medicine, government, and industry that consuming fluoride was not only safe, it would help to ensure that we maintained good dental health. Who could argue with that? About 66% of public municipal water systems in the United States, serving 170 million people, have been fluoridated by the dawn of the 21st century. Yet most of the countries in Western Europe, from France and Germany to Italy and Switzerland, continue to reject adding fluoride to their drinking water. Did they know something we refuse to accept? It might be useful to recall how fluoridation came about in the first place. A scientist working under a grant from the Aluminum Company of America made the initial public proposal in 1939 to add fluoride to public water supplies in the belief that it would help prevent tooth decay. In 1945, the first barrels of sodium fluoride were added to the drinking water in Grand Rapids, Michigan. When the United States Public Health Service endorsed fluoridation a few years later, many cities and entire states quickly followed that advice. There was an ulterior motive for the aluminum industry and the fertilizer industry to promote the fluoridation idea. A byproduct of factory smokestacks operated by both industries was a toxic waste called silicofluoride that contains lead, cadmium, arsenic, and other toxins. Instead of these industries having to pay for the disposal of this waste, today at an estimated cost of $8,000 a truckload, fluoridation enabled both to make money by selling the waste for use in public water supplies. Using public water as a vehicle to deliver a drug, and one that is among the most toxic substances on the planet, used as an active ingredient in many pesticides, was an idea that concerned some physicians and scientists at the time. It even initially drew opposition from the dental profession. In 1944, a 1944 editorial in the Journal of the American Dental Association warned that water fluoridation's prospects for harming human health far outweigh those for the good. Once dentists came aboard the fluoridation bandwagon along with public health-minded politicians, and with backing from a public relations campaign funded by aluminum and fertilizer industry coffers, there was no stopping the fluoridation juggernaut. Industry-funded studies began to appear in dental and medical journals showing improvements in dental health apparently resulting from fluoridated water, and that was all the proof most people needed to accept fluoridation's benefits as the gospel truth. Anyone who disagreed was branded a right-wing nut. Periodically, a courageous voice with impeccable scientific credentials spoke up to sound an alarm about fluoridation's potential dangers, only to be dismissed as eccentric. In 1975, for instance, the chief chemist emeritus of the National Cancer Institute, Dean Burke, declared that fluoride in water, quote, causes more human cancer and causes it faster than any other chemical, unquote. 2 years later, some members of Congress inquired about whether federal health authorities, after a quarter-century of experience with fluoridation, had ever tested fluoridated water as a cause for cancer. The answer was no. More than a decade passed before these tests were finally performed. The results caused a brief uproar. Young male rats exposed to fluoridated water developed both bone cancer and liver cancer. These results were quickly attacked on a variety of grounds: flawed methodology, incomplete results, animal studies aren't always reliable, etc. And then ignored by the fluoridation establishment. But other researchers, emboldened by the precedent this study set, began conducting their own experiments into fluoride's effects on health. In 1992, 3 U.S. scientists found evidence of Alzheimer's-like symptoms in laboratory animals exposed to fluoridated water that had apparently carried traces of aluminum into the animal's brain. That same year, a study appeared in the Journal of the American Medical Association connecting water fluoridation to an increased risk of hip fractures. The negative studies about fluoride's effects on health built into a tsunami during the 1990s. Here are just a few of the examples. The medical journal Neurotoxicology and Teratology found evidence that fluoride accumulates in the human body and creates motor skills dysfunction and learning disabilities. 2 separate studies in the journal Fluoride showed that in areas where water supplies were fluoridated, children's IQs were lower than normal. Other science papers in Fluoride drew connections between the chemical and thyroid abnormalities, arthritis, even Down syndrome in children. Even the argument that put fluoride into drinking water in the first place, that it prevents tooth decay, came under a sustained challenge. A study in 1995 by the California Department of Health Services revealed that money spent on dental work actually increased in areas where water was fluoridated in that state, while dental costs declined in communities without fluoridated water. In the July 2000 issue of the Journal of the American Dental Association, John D.B. Featherstone of the University of California at San Francisco concluded that ingesting fluoride from tap water does little to prevent tooth decay. Fluoride only works when directly applied to teeth in the form of toothpaste. By 2004, an estimated 500 peer-reviewed scientific studies had appeared indicating health problems associated with fluoride consumption. Rather than accept the possibility that water fluoridation may be a flawed idea, fluoride's proponents have continued reacting with a sort of Dr. Strangelove logic that relies upon dismissive ridicule. A statement posted on the website of the American Council on Science and Health, a group financed in part by the chemical industry, called Criticisms of Water Fluoridation a fake controversy that represents one of the major triumphs of quackery over science in our generation. Undaunted by these charges, a prominent Canadian dental expert, Hardy Limeback, head of the Department of Preventative Dentistry at the University of Toronto, publicly apologized in 1999 for having been a proponent of water fluoridation. Quote, because of the cumulative properties of the toxins, the detrimental effects on human health are catastrophic, unquote. He pointed out that in Toronto, after 36 years of fluoridating water, the cavity rate was higher than in Vancouver, which had never fluoridated its water supply. For a half-century, the well-intentioned dental profession foisted misinformation about fluoride onto an unsuspecting public, claims Limeback, and the result has been a poisoning of our children. It is these cumulative effects of fluoride in our bodies that should most concern us. A United States Department of Health and Human Services report has estimated that the average person absorbs about 7 parts per million of fluoride a day from all sources combined: water, food, air, and from pesticides that contain fluoride. By contrast, the optimal level of exposure to fluoride, according to the EPA, should be no more than 1 part per million a day. But public water supplies use standards of no more than 4 parts per million. By contrast, the World Health Organization set a fluoride safety standard of just 1.5 parts per million. This discrepancy between what we absorb and the levels at which fluoride is safe, along with government studies showing fluoridated water to be instrumental in causing chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, so alarmed EPA scientists that their union, representing 1,500 civil servants, called for a moratorium on fluoridation. Like most Americans, including many physicians and dentists, most of our members had thought that fluoride's only effects were beneficial. We too believe assurances of safety. We too believed in assurances of safety. Read the statement by J. William Hersey, Senior Vice President of Chapter 280 of the National Treasury Employees Union, in May 1999. Since then, our opposition to drinking water fluoridation has grown based on the scientific literature. Hersey summed up the loony logic of injecting fluoride toxic waste into our drinking water. Quote, if this stuff gets out into the air, it's a pollutant. If it gets into the river, it's a pollutant. If it gets into the lake, it's a pollutant. But if it goes right straight into your drinking water system, it's not a pollutant. That's amazing, unquote. In late 2005, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released a report disclosing that 60% of children from ages 6 to 19 have never had a cavity in their permanent teeth. Less than 35% of children could make that claim in 1980. Once again, the CDC Statistical Journal Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report used these statistics as an opportunity to trot out its contention that fluoridation is one of the nation's 10 great public health achievements. If you read the CDC report carefully, however, a huge Achilles heel in this argument becomes apparent. An exception to the So the exception to these findings about the overall decline in cavities in poor children. Guess who drinks larger volumes of tap water containing fluoride than the children from middle class and wealthy families who can afford unfluoridated bottled spring water? It is children from lower income groups. This irony was apparently lost on the CDC. So they're saying that the poor children did not have a decline in cavities, and so then a sea change in attitudes about the safety of adding fluoride to water seems to be underway in the United States. A major article on the growing opposition to fluoridation appeared in Time magazine, October 24th, 2005. And described how tooth decay, quote, has plummeted even in regions where there is little or no fluoride in the water, unquote, and warned that, quote, fluoride is indisputably toxic. It was once commonly used in rat poison, unquote. The article revealed that a Harvard University study had been suppressed because it showed a 7-fold increased risk of osteosarcoma in pre-adolescent boys from fluoridated water. Furthermore, in Western Europe, where the drop in tooth decay in recent decades is as sharp as that in the U.S., 17 of 21 countries have either refused or discontinued fluoridation because of health safety concerns. So there is what. Now, I have read other studies on fluoridation. The reason, the studies that they cited for using fluoridation was because they said that it helped to harden the bone, to make the bone more or less susceptible to cavities or breakage or whatever. But when they went back and looked at the findings, it showed that sometimes it made the bones bigger around, but they actually were weaker on the inside. So those were some of the studies. Now you can get whole books just written on fluoridation, and I mean there's whole books. So if you just go on the internet and look for books about fluoridation and what it does, then you can do some more research on fluoridation in water. One of the other things that if you read your tube of toothpaste, it tells you not to swallow the toothpaste, and if there's too much toothpaste consumed, then to call the poison control. But it does specifically state on the tube not to swallow it, which, I mean, if you're putting something in your mouth, whether or not you swallow it, it's getting absorbed into your body through your mucous membrane. So like I was saying a minute ago, I did take my children to the dentist today. 2 of the 5 had to get some fillings filled. We do not use fluoride in our home, and my dentist knows that I do not use fluoride when we're at the dental office, so they don't use the prophylactic fluoride on my children when we go in for cleanings. So I do know that 2 of the 5 have a propensity for cavities. I do know that both of them like their candy. One of them is a teenage boy, and he finally gave up drinking Cokes several times a day. But instead of drinking Cokes, he switched over to sweet tea, which I told him if he wanted to stop getting cavities filled and stop getting shots, which he doesn't like at the dentist's office, then he needs to stop drinking sweet tea. He needs to just cut it out completely and drink something that is unsweetened. Switch to unsweet tea or water, for heaven's sakes, because that would be much better for him than sweet tea. and getting the cavities that he's getting, because I'm pretty sure that the cavities that my children are getting are caused from sugar consumption. I know for a fact that it's not from lack of fluoride because I have done my study. So I'm sitting there talking to the person that's helping me, telling me exactly what they're doing on my children today, and helping me figure out how much I'm going to owe after insurance pays. And she mentions fluoride for preventing cavities. And she said something about it, and I'm like, well, we don't use fluoride, and the doctor does not use the prophylactic fluoride on my children because we have chosen not to use that. And she starts stating that, you know, how it helps to harden the teeth and prevent cavities. And I just looked at her and I said, I have done so much research on fluoride and cavities, and we are definitely not going to be using it. So, you know, just to let her know that I have done my research. I am not an uneducated consumer, and I have made that choice for our family. We do not use fluoridated toothpaste. We do not drink fluoridated water unless we are, you know, away from our home, and the only choice is to drink the water that is presented to us. But if I'm purchasing bottled water or I'm drinking water at home, it does not have fluoride in it, and we do that for a purpose, because I do know the side effects of what fluoridated water can do to you, and I also know where the fluoride comes from. Now, one of the other books I read on fluoride, like it states in here, and this was in 2006. So the EPA has determined that the waste product from factory smokestacks operated by both the aluminum and the fertilizer industries, a byproduct and waste product of those two industries is the fluoride, which also contains, which he says is called silicofluoride, that contain lead, cadmium, arsenics, and other toxins. So one of the other books that I had read had talked about how the EPA had determined that it is harmful to the environment. And like he states in this book, he said that in 2006, its estimated cost of disposal was $8,000 a truckload. So what these industries found was that it was they could make money instead of paying whatever it is now by the truckload. Then it was $8,000 a truckload. Who knows what it costs now? So instead of paying to have it disposed of properly, because the EPA has determined that it's an environmental hazard and a pollutant, they don't have to pay to have it disposed, but they are making money off of it by selling it to municipalities to put in their water supply. So they're getting the best of both worlds. They're making money off of it and not having to pay to have it disposed of. So looky there. So they figured out a way how to make money on both ends. And they are not producing the information that shows how harmful it is. So that's why we choose to stay away from fluoride. It is a neurotoxin. It is a byproduct of the aluminum and fertilizer industry. It is not a natural substance that they are putting in our water supply. It is a EPA pollutant and a byproduct of manufacture. So it is synthetic. It is chemical. And according to many, many, many studies, it is harmful. So that's why we as a family have decided to not fluoridate ourselves. We don't drink fluoridated water. We don't use the fluoride prophylaxis at the dentist. And we do not use fluoride toothpaste. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have cavities, because again, and like the dentist and I talked about this after my son's cavities popped up. And even she said that some people are just prone to cavities. Their body chemistry, their, acid to base ratio, how their teeth are formed. Some people are just more susceptible to cavities. But I know that if my son would stop drinking sweet tea all day long, and before bed, and would brush better, that he could probably avoid most of the cavities that he's getting just by avoiding that sugar, candy, sweet tea, all of that stuff that he's doing. And again, my daughter had to have some work done today too. She loves candy. I do not keep candy in my home, but you know how it is when you go places and everybody wants to give your child a piece of candy. We were at the bank yesterday depositing some checks, and the teller was super sweet and asked me quietly, without letting the girls hear, if I wanted them to have a sucker. And I said, thank you, but no, because we have to go to the dentist tomorrow. So I turned down the sucker for the girls. Now, I do let them have candy occasionally, but I do direct them to brush their teeth every night and every morning. Before they go to bed and after they eat breakfast. So I just have to keep reminding them how important brushing their teeth is. And hopefully my daughter, this is the first time she's ever had to have any dental work done. So hopefully I can convince her that it's much easier to brush your teeth and cut back on candy than to get shots in your gums and have your teeth drilled. So that's my prayer. Praise the Lord. The ones that she had to get done today were baby teeth, so they will fall out, and we'll just pray and hope that she will take better care of her permanent teeth when they come in. So hopefully we can cut back on that candy and do some better brushing when her permanent teeth do come in. So we'll see about that. But we do avoid fluoride in our home. So we have chosen to use Thieves toothpaste in our home, which I absolutely love. It doesn't have anything synthetic in it. It doesn't have any harmful chemicals. It does not have fluoride, which is what I'm wanting for my family. And it tastes wonderful. It does a really good job. It doesn't have SLS. It doesn't have sodium lauryl sulfate, because I know I have a friend that's extremely allergic to sodium lauryl sulfate, and she has to stay away from it. It actually causes her to have sores in her mouth, and so she chooses to stay away from sodium lauryl sulfate, which is found in most of your toothpaste, and I'll tell you why. It is a class of synthetic detergents in which molecules do not ionize in aqueous solutions, and it is a surfactant emulsifier. It is used in harsh detergent because it breaks down the surface tension of water. It is used in industrial settings as concrete floor cleaner, engine degreaser, and car wash detergent. As a foaming agent, it can be found in children and adult shampoos, bath soaps, and bubble baths. It is also a favorite ingredient of toothpaste manufacturers. So sodium lauryl sulfate is what makes everything that we use that suds. That's what makes the suds. So we try and stay away from sodium lauryl sulfate also. Here's some reasons. SLS so it'll say SLS or sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLES or sodium laureth sulfate, but it is a mutagen, which means that in sufficient amounts it is capable of changing genetic information found in cells. It alters skin structure and allows other chemicals to penetrate deep into the skin. It has been found to cause loss of hearing and eyesight and can cause eye deformity in children. It is also found in no-tear shampoos. It can also damage the immune system and cause skin inflammation, which is what it does to my friend, so she stays away from it. So I also try to avoid sodium lauryl sulfate. So if you want to look at the ingredients and the products that you're using in your home and see that it has sodium lauryl sulfate or fluoride, then I would just toss those things out and start using something else. Now for our family, because I have found that the Young Living products are the best ones for my family, that's what we use. We use the Young Living Thieves toothpaste. And because I am an independent distributor with Young Living Essential Oils, I have my own home-based business where I can order those things, and they offer a wholesale account to whoever wants to open a wholesale account. You do not have to start a business with it to do that. But those are the products that we have chose to use. They do not have sodium lauryl sulfate. Our toothpaste does not have fluoride. Our mouthwash does not have fluoride because we avoid those because they are neurotoxic and excitotoxic. So they do affect the brain and the nerves. So we do that. So I love to share with other people the products that we have found, and I can help you do that today also. So if you would like to join our team, it's super easy to do. You are able to set up a wholesale account where you can order the products that your family needs, have it shipped directly to your home. You don't have to go through a middleman. Now, you do need somebody you don't have to, but I would love to be the person that sponsors you in your wholesale account for Young Living Essential Oils. So if you would like to join our team, it's super easy to do. You just go to youngliving.com and click on Become a Member. And when you do that, it asks you who introduced you to Young Living. And so if you are listening and you want to get started doing that, I would love to be the person that helps you with your education. We have a whole team of people that love to educate about health and wellness and how to get the chemicals out of your home. So when it asks who introduced you, all you have to do is put in my information, which my member number is 1416900. There's 2 spots to enter that number, again, which is 1416900. And then you can start with a premium starter kit, which is the only thing on the Young Living website that is half off. You can start with our essential oils, which are wonderful for supporting health and wellness. The premium starter kit with essential oils comes with 11 of our most popular bottles of oils. And you get a diffuser for your home. So not only can you get rid of the air fresheners and plug-ins and candles in your home and have your home smell wonderful with your choice of fragrance that you want to put in your diffuser, you can do that, but you can also get the other chemicals out of your home. You can DIY cleaners, or you can DIY toothpaste with coconut oil and one of the oils that you love the taste of. So easy to do, but I love our Thieves toothpaste. I love the taste of it. I love the way it feels. I love the way it works. And we use it for everybody in our home. So there's also a Thieves starter kit that you can choose, which comes with 2 tubes of toothpaste. I believe it's 2 tubes. I'll have to check on that. But it comes with toothpaste and mouthwash, so you can get rid of your fluoride toothpaste and mouthwash immediately. But it also comes with our household cleanser, which you can get rid of the chemical cleansers in your home and just use that. I use it for my kitchen. I use it for my floors. I use it for my bathroom. I use it for my windows and mirrors, and I even dust with it. It smells amazing. And so you can get started with that today and get all of the other chemicals out of your home. But it also comes with some foaming hand wash and some hand purifier and a Thieves spray that you can stick in your purse and take with you and use it wherever you go on the go. So that's super easy to do. So again, you just go to youngliving.com, click on Become a Member, enter my member information, which is 1416900, And then you choose the starter kit that you would like to get started with. Then you fill in your personal information so they can ship it directly to your home. And then you put your payment information, and you are almost done. Then you click, place order. You choose your shipping. Then you click place order. And then you are a lifetime member of Young Living Essential Oils. You get the wholesale price on whatever you order. You're able to switch your shampoo, your conditioner, your toothpaste, your mouthwash, your cleaning detergent, your laundry detergent, your dishwasher detergent. You can pretty much get every chemical out of your home and avoid the sodium lauryl sulfate, avoid the fluoride, avoid many of the other synthetics that they put in your personal care products. But you also have the benefit of the essential oils for supporting health and wellness. You can diffuse those around your home, make your home smell amazing. We do have oils that are labeled for ingestion, which are awesome. So you can put those in your water. You can cook with them. You can do just about everything that you would need to do with the products from Young Living to get all of the chemicals out of your home. So it's an amazing opportunity, and I hope that you will take advantage of that, and that I would be blessed to be the one to walk you through your healthy journey and walk alongside you as you walk this path, and I can help you with information. I have reference material that I send out. I have newsletters bi-monthly that you can learn all about the products. We even have chemical-free makeup now, which is amazing. I wear it every day. I don't have to worry about what I'm putting on my skin. I also use the Young Living skincare system, which I love, and it's infused with essential oils. We have wonderful, wonderful supplements that you'll love. Only the best ingredients in those supplements for your family. And you're also getting the nutrients that you need from supplements, which we are actually going to be talking about vitamins tomorrow. Yes, I'm just looking at my information for tomorrow's healthy journey. We are going to be talking about vitamins and what it looks like from the FDA standpoint, and what's out there, and why a good source of supplements is very, very important for everybody in your family. But Young Living supplements are the best products that they can find. There are no synthetics. There are no preservatives. There's nothing in there that you wouldn't want to provide for your family. So those are amazing. And most of our supplements are infused with essential oils, which actually helps your body to uptake the nutrients that are in those supplements. And so that's amazing. They've done studies on that. Super, super informative. So we'll be talking about vitamins tomorrow. So join in for tomorrow's show, and we will delve into what the vitamin industry looks like and why it looks like the way it does. But if you have any questions about fluoridation, or you want to talk, you want more information on that, I encourage you to Google. Let me see. I'm going to look and see where his sources are. I encourage you to Google books about fluoridation. Oh, I was going to tell you about a show I watched. I actually just came upon it. There's one called The Fluoride Deception by Christopher Bryson. The Fluoride Deception. So that one, it would be super. And I might have read that one at one point. But there's lots of information out there about fluoride and why we shouldn't be using it. I just really wish that they would stop educating dentists about how important fluoridation is when they know that it's really not that, it really does not work. Anyway, okay, so I came across a show on the Weather Channel, which I don't really know if before that I knew that the Weather Channel did documentaries, but I was watching a documentary on the Weather Channel, and just remember, I'm just going to go back and read a quote from the 100-Year Lie real quick, which it says, J. William Hersey, Senior Vice President of Chapter 280 of the National Treasury Employees Union in May 1999, summed up the loony logic of injecting fluoride toxic waste into our drinking water by saying, if this stuff gets out into the air, it's a pollutant. If it gets into a river, it's a pollutant. If it gets into a lake, it's a pollutant. But if it goes right straight into your drinking water system, it's not a pollutant. That's amazing. So I was watching the Weather Channel one night, and this documentary came on about a factory town in, and I'm trying to remember because this was years ago. I believe it was in Pennsylvania, but I'll have to Google it for next time. But it was about a factory town in, I believe it was Pennsylvania. Back in the early 1900s, they had a factory in town that the byproduct of the smokestack was this fluoride gas that he talks about in this book. And one night they had this kind of like cold front set in on the town, and the fog was so low over the mountains and so heavy that the smoke from the smokestacks of this factory were not able to dissipate into the air. So this cold front held everything that was coming out of the smokestacks into the air over this small town. And pretty much everybody in town was asphyxiated by the pollution coming out of the smokestacks. It was so sad to hear the story, but it was so interesting. Like he says, like this gentleman says in the book, if it gets into the air, it's a pollutant. And it made the gas very poisonous, and so people died in this town because this cold front set in over the valley and would not let the smoke from the smokestacks escape into the environment, so that it wouldn't be in a concentration that was harmful to the town. So, I mean, and that was on the Weather Channel. I mean, years ago I watched that. So it was very interesting to see that that documentary while I was doing my research for my family and what changes we were going to be making in our home to increase our health and wellness in our home. And so that was interesting. If you want to Google, small town that, poisoned by fluoride gas. But it was just a freak weather phenomenon that came in, settled over the city, and it was not, the gases from the smokestacks were not able to get out of the valley, and it killed most of the town. So that was a very interesting story, sad story, but very interesting. So I do recommend that you do your research for your family. Become knowledgeable about the information and decide for yourself what you're going to allow into your home, what you're going to allow into your body, what you're going to allow into your children's body. You are the gatekeeper of your home, and you get to decide what you bring in. So I do encourage you to do your research. And I appreciate you joining in today. And again, tomorrow we're going to talk about vitamins. So that'll be very interesting because we do take supplements in our home, but we only take Young Living supplements because I trust the ingredients. I know that they're not synthetic. I know that they're from a natural source. I know that Young Living sources all of their products from the best that they can find, and they are actually willing to change stuff. If new information comes out, they'll make changes to the supplements that they are providing for our members. So if you would like information about becoming a wholesale member, you are welcome to email me at healthyjourney2016@gmail.com. You're welcome to go directly to the website and order a premium starter kit with my member number 1416900. And I will be more than happy to support you and to send you reference material so that you can do the research you need for your family. So I pray that you have a wonderful evening, and I will be back here tomorrow and we'll discuss supplements. So thanks for joining in, and we'll talk soon.